Good afternoon, students. Today we will take up the next subunit of subtopic of Unit 5, that is cursors. Okay. Before this, I hope you have gone through my previous lectures wherein I have covered indexes for you. That was also a part of Unit 5. Now we will be taking up cursors. Okay. So now the first question arises as to what is cursors and what is the necessity of cursors in DBMS. Now what is cursors is, it is the area in which you will be selecting certain data that you want and store it. Okay. For example, if I am selecting, we have seen when we were dealing with PLSQL blocks and stored procedures, PLSQL blocks and stored procedures, then we have seen that it is possible that I write looping inside looping for a select query. That means on and on it can keep on selecting different tuples from the database and keep retrieving it from the database. So what is happening is more than one rows is getting retrieved at one instance of time. So definitely when so much of data is being retrieved, so I am talking about a real-time application wherein there are 10,000 records or more than that records, huge amount of means to say there is huge amount of data, and when I am retrieving, I am doing looping because I want to ease my job of not retrieving individual tuples with some condition. I have written the condition and put it in a loop, so to whichever tuple out of the 10,000 records or more, so I have written the data, it will just keep on retrieving the data. And so when so much of data is retrieved, there has to be a place wherein I would want to store it. Okay. So that is what is meant by cursors. So cursors is an identifier for a memory location which will be used to store this kind of data which is being retrieved in huge amount. Okay, so that is what it is. What do you mean by an identifier? Now if you try and recall from your earlier knowledge of an identifier, in any programming language we always have declared variables. For example, when we were writing C programs for DS, then we have written something like this wherein int x. So what is x? X is an identifier. Why would I call it as an identifier? It is a variable, definitely it is a variable, but it is identifying the particular variable. So it is the name given to a particular type of variable which is integer type, and definitely it has some size according to the integer data type. Okay. So also your name is your identifier, my name is my identifier, that is how I am identified, that is how you are identified. That is why the term identifier. Okay. So identifier is something which will help you identify certain element. So x is helping me identify a variable which is of integer type. Okay. So that is how it is. So cursor also would be called an identifier to a particular memory location, and the purpose is as I told you. Okay. So this was a small introduction to what is cursors. So let me read what I have pasted, a small definition kind of a thing I have pasted. When Oracle processes a SQL command, it opens an area in the memory called private SQL area. Okay. So this area stores information responsible for executing the command. An identifier for this area is called a cursor. Is created. So whenever you are retrieving the data, any kind of data, whether it is a single row or multiple rows, all of it is being stored in an area which they say is called as a private SQL area, and to identify that particular memory location within your database, that a cursor is defined. Okay. So the question now arises, also long we have been using SQL queries, select queries to retrieve data from the database. So were we not using cursors? Yes, of course we were using cursors. Those were all implicit cursors. That means they were all predefined, or they implicitly work. You don't have to exclusively do something to make it work. Okay, so these are all known as implicit cursors. They all belong to implicit cursors. Now when I'm retrieving huge amount of data, then explicitly I would want to identify that particular memory location where all this is going to come and reside. Why? Because in case I don't define, then it will be just scattered around and I cannot handle it. I cannot refer to this particular memory location where it is this all is stored. I cannot refer to it. So to refer to it, I will have to give that area some name. So that idea of it is known as the cursors, and that type is known as explicit cursors. As I have written here, there are two types of cursors. One is implicit cursor, one is explicit cursor. Implicit cursor is the one which is implicitly defined. That means you don't have to do, the user does not have to do anything for it to work. That is what is implicit cursors. And explicit cursors are used to explicitly define. They are explicitly defined, given a name. So it is like a library function and user defined function. That's the sheer difference between the two. The library function is already predefined. It is all stored in the library. You just have to take the name. Square root function is there, or any math function for that matter, or string function, string concat, or anything. So these are all implicit functions. Now what will be a user defined function? Now user defined function is wherein the user decides what name he wants to give to the function. So the name, the parameters, what will be the set of statements which will be executed within the function, all that is decided by the user himself. So that is known as explicit cursor. So definitely, why do we use a user defined function is because it gives us a lot of flexibility. What I want to have, I have a special requirement, so I want to define my function according to the requirement, my requirement. So it is tailor made. Okay, so this is what is the sheer difference that I would suggest here also. When I say it is implicit cursor and explicit cursor definitely has these all advantages over the implicit cursors. So this was the entire idea of what is cursor. Now when I am creating a cursor, there would be 4 things that I would do, 4 steps I would go through. So the 4 steps will be, first thing is declaring a cursor. So first thing is, when I am going to deal with cursor, first thing is I have to declare a cursor. That means I have to decide its name, and I have to decide which SQL query will work on which particular table to extract, because cursor actually doesn't have its own data. It is going to work on those basic tables, employee table, customer table, banks table, whatever tables you have created, whatever database you have created. We have created 3 databases for our lab sessions. So we do understand what is a database and the different tables within them. So may it be bank database or the student database. So think of any database and the tables within them. So it is definitely the cursor is going to extract the material from these databases which you have already created and store it. And that storage, that memory space will be given some name. So definitely there will be SQL query, that is select query, which will be working. So the first thing is declaring a cursor. So you have to declare a cursor. In that, what do you have to do? You have to decide what will be the cursor name, and you also have to decide what will be the SQL query, that is what will be the select query which will extract the data. This is one thing. Then opening the cursor. Next is opening the cursor. Now opening the cursor, you cannot just defining the cursor is not it will not start working. You have to open the cursor. Okay, so you can refer to the file executions within C. So when you are handling the files within C, you have to open the file and close the file. Similarly, you have to open the cursor to use it. Then after you have opened the cursor, you can fetch whatever data you have stored in it. You have stored some data in it, right? So you can just fetch the data from it. So that's the idea. So the third step is fetching the data. Having finished with fetching the data, having finished with using the cursor, the fourth is closing the cursor. So you will surely close the cursor. So there are 4 steps. Again I'll repeat. So what are these 4 steps? 4 steps are how do you handle a cursor? The 4 steps that you go through. So to handle a cursor, the 4 steps are, first one is declaring the cursor. In that you give the cursor the name. You decide about what SQL query, that is select query, will extract data from which particular table. So you decide about the select query, and then next is you open the cursor. Before using it, you have to open the cursor. Having opened it, you can then fetch the data, whatever you have stored into the cursor in that memory location which you have given some name, that you can start fetching. Then is closing the cursor. So you can now close the cursor. Having finished the fetching, you can close the cursor. So these are the basic 4 steps. I will just take up few examples for you to better understand as to how a cursor looks like. So look at this. Now if you can just see, this is definitely when I'm talking about the cursor, it will require a PLSQL block to handle it. So it will have a declare, it will have a begin, so it will have a declaration part. PLSQL blocks, I hope you understand and remember. So you will have the declaration part, you will have the main part where you are going to write the fetching and all that. So similarly, I have just put here the declaration part wherein the definition of the cursor is happening. So you can see here declare. So declare is a part of a PLSQL statement. So let me just on the pointer for you. Just a second. So this declare is a part of PLSQL block. Okay, so that is not a part of cursor. So it starts here, cursor definition starts here. You will merely write cursor and you will give it a name. So this is what is the name. Prim01 is the name that you have given. Is the clause that you have to write. So cursor and is are the key words, and prim01 is the user defined name. It is an identifier for the cursor. Remember, cursor is an identifier. That means you have to give it a name. How you decided that this particular variable x has to be this particular variable of integer type has to be given the name x. Like that, you have to decide what name you want to give to the cursor. Totally your discretion as to how you want to refer to it, what name you want to give, or what referential name you want to give. So it is being given as prim01. Okay. So the clause is. Then you have the regular SQL query, that is select query, which is selecting something from a particular table. So let's read what it is selecting. It is selecting. It says select EMP number, EMP name and job and salary. So comma, comma, comma between all of them. So there are 4 fields which are being extracted. From which particular table? From EMP. So this understanding is very regular understanding of a select query. I don't think there is any problem with the understanding of a select query because we have handled it lot of time, and this is a very basic SQL query. So from EMP table where department number is equal to 30. So so all those employees, so what is the understanding of this select query? All those employees who belong to department number 30, their employee number, employee name, job and salary should be extracted from the EMP table. This is what is the understanding. Okay. So this is what will be selected and stored where? It will be stored in a memory location. Okay. It will be stored in a memory location, and that memory location will be named as that particular cursor. So let's understand how it is happening, or what is the concept that I am talking about. Assume that this is my EMP table. So this is my EMP table. So what all things are being extracted? It is EMP number, EMP name, then job, okay, and then salary. So these are the 4 things. And definitely when I'm talking about a department number, so maybe there is another field which is department number, and there different department numbers are there, and out of the different departments maybe there is 10, department number 10, then there is 20, then couple of them are 30. So there are couple of them, then there is 30, then 30, okay. So assume that there are 3 employees who have the department number as 30. So they will be extracted their data regarding all this. So all this is employee number, this first employee who belongs to the department number 30, his employee number, employee name, job and salary. Definitely department number is not being extracted, if you can just see. So this is not extracted, only so much will be extracted. Okay, so for all those employees. So this is the first employee. Okay, this is the first employee. There is another employee here. Okay, his data. There is another third employee, his data. Okay, I am talking about only a small database wherein I presume that there are only 3, because I could draw only so much a table, but then assume that in real time it is not such a small table, there is huge amount of data usually. So I am talking about a lot of data being extracted and stored into a memory location, and that memory location, so all this employee number 1, 2, 3, and the cursor name is prim01. So prim01 is the memory location's name, which is a cursor to all this data which is extracted. So only these 3 employees data reside there. So you can decide as to what you want to do with those later. Okay, so this is one part that I have shown, wherein I have tried to show you that you can define a particular cursor in such a manner. Okay, so now look at another example. It says cursor sec02, okay, and return department row type. Now row type, what is the meaning of row type will be seen a little later. Is as in type is nothing, row type as in if I store this here, the row type is the type, the data type of this and this that is stored there. That is known as row type. So it will be exactly tallied. So that is what is row type. So we will come to that later. So and what is the select query there? Select star from department where department number is equal to 20. So department number 20 will be extracted and stored in which particular cursor? Now at present we are just understanding how it is being declared. Okay. So what does the cursor name? Sec02. Okay. So this is what is another example. Now look at this declare part again. So this is a PLSQL part. So ignore it for the time being. When I show you the entire example, you will understand what do you mean by declare and begin and all that. But at present, just focus from here. So look at this cursor, display 20. So display 20 is what? Display 20 is the name given to the cursor. Is, okay, select. So what is the select query selecting? E name, department number, salary. So 3 things are being selected from EMP table where department number is equal to 20 and it is getting ordered by order by clause. Everybody understands, I hope. So it is going to just ascending order. It will order it according to the E name. So alphabetically it will order the names. So this is what is another example. There is another example which is being written here. So you can see EMP name is, so this is like, I don't know if you will be able to relate to this. Okay, let me try it. Okay, so look at this in declare, this is the cursor. If you can just look at this part is cursor part, wherein you are defining a cursor test1, okay, is and select. In between you have told what are the parameters for test1, okay, how you have function parameters, how you would otherwise have function parameters like that. So for example, if I have a sum function, so I would write sum a comma b. If there are going to be 2 parameters, then I would simply pass the values as 1 comma 2, you know, sum of these 2. So this is what is parameter. So similarly, test1 has 2 parameters, one is name and the other one is salary of the type number and name is of the type varchar2. So these can be the parameters, okay. Now, don't get confused because I will be summing up all this to show you entire program and definitely will be taking up a lab program for this. So, go slow in understanding just part by part and we will sum it up together, and when you will sum it up together, it will make more sense to you as to what actually we tried to do and what is actually happening. Okay, I will show you practically as to how it works. So at present just try and understand it part by part. So what am I trying to say is the cursor here is being declared with parameters and is then select query has been left blank, as in there is some select query. Assume it to be any select query. Above that there is something. Okay, can you see here? EMP name is a variable. This is using the type attribute, you can say, type attribute for cursors. There are a couple of attributes which I'll be discussing in the next coming slides, and one of the attributes is type. For example, I want to store EMP number in EMP ID, the column in the cursor, and this data type has to be equal to this data type. What is one cruciate way of doing it is go to the database, see what is its data type and set it exactly the same. Okay, this is one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is type. I can simply say whatever is the data type of this should be the data type of this, or should be the data type of any variable that I am declaring. So same thing is happening here. Is EMP name is a variable. It is a declare part, right? So this is a declare part, and you can see that in the declare part EMP name is the variable, and that particular variable EMP name is equal to what? EMP tables E name. So what are you saying? This is EMP table, correct? So what is being said? I'll just erase this to write it here, right here. So assume it to be EMP table with these all fields. So what is happening? There is one variable which is being declared with the name E name. Okay, this is one variable. Okay, so what is this? It is a variable. Okay, now what is this variable? I want to set this variable data type same as whatever is E name. I do not want to go into the database, see whether it is varchar 20 the size or varchar 30 the size or any other data type it is. I do not want to take that trouble. Simply whatever is the data type of that, set it as exactly the same here. So how would I say it? I will say whatever is the table name. So EMP is the table name dot. What is the field name? Field name is which field I want to make it equal to? E name. E name, okay, and what will I say to make it equal to the exact data type? I will just say mod type. I'll simply say mod type. The moment I say mod type, whatever is the data type of this of the EMP table will be the same here. Okay, it will be automatically set. Similarly, there is another field salary or another variable salary. I'll put my pointer here. There is another variable salary which is being equated to EMP salaries type. So EMP table has another field salary. Its data type is being equated to another variable salary. So that is how easy it is in PLSQL. You can always do that. So this is one of the attributes which is usually used with the cursors. I'll be taking you through it in my next slides, but this is what was the, now open. I can simply open my the cursors by passing, because I have passed the parameter. Can you see the cursor name is test1. So open test1. First time I have opened the test1 with certain E name and which were the parameters? So parameters were varchar2, name is varchar2 and salary is number. So some name and salary. So can you see test1? It is some name and salary because it is varchar single quote. So similarly you can do that. So you can pass the parameters also to the cursor. It is possible like this. While opening you can just pass the parameters with certain values. Okay. So this is what was the declaration part, definition. Then comes how to fetch. Okay, I have told you, and open also I have shown you. So please remember, I'll just remind you of it. There are 4 steps in for dealing with the cursor. First is you define the cursor. Second one is you open the cursor, that both you have seen. And the third one that I'm trying to tell you is fetching. How to fetch? Now the cursor is ready. Now cursor is ready with 3 fields or more or less, whatever. It is ready with certain number of fields. Now how to fetch the data from it? You can simply have a loop for it and fetch tuple by tuple or row by row it, all of it. So it says loop fetch C1 into, C1 is the obviously the cursor, okay, C1 is the name of the cursor, into what? The data types, okay. So EMP, my salary, data types as in variables. So into variables. For this I can use the type command, type attribute. So this EMP can be equal to EMP ID, salary can be equal to the salary there in the EMP table, and hire date, if at all I am fetching date, then it will be equal to the hire date in the EMP table. So it will exactly tally the data type. So when I am storing, it will not give any typecast error, okay. So there is another clause, if C1 found then fetch, else exit, okay. What is found is there is another attribute which is found attribute, which that means the data is found according to this particular condition, okay, whatever condition you are trying to fetch, right? If the data is found, then you will say found. So or else what are you saying? If it is not found, there is another attribute opposite of it, not found, then you want to exit because you cannot fetch any more tuples, right? So you will exit. So this is what is exit. So now I am taking you through the various attributes which can be used along with the cursor, okay. So these are the couple of them, that is why I went fast there. So you can see found, not found. So let's start here. So these are couple of attributes with the cursor. So it says mod is open. So you can check whether the cursor is open, because we know the cursor has to be opened, only then I can fetch the data. I have to open the cursor and only then fetch the data that I have stored. Okay, so this is what is the understanding. So there is one attribute which is known as is open, which will help me figure out whether the cursor is already open. So you can simply say whatever is the name of the cursor, if C1 mod is open, then do whatever, else it means that cursor is closed, then I will say open the cursor. In case it is not open, then I will say open the cursor, open C1. So this was about is open. Then not found. Found and not found are opposite. If the tuples, there are more tuples to be extracted or to be fetched, then it will give with the found true. Okay, not found means not found will be true when there are no more rows which can be fetched from the particular cursor. So not found returns true when there are no more rows. So this is not found. Found is opposite of it. Found will be true when there is more data. Not found will be true when there is no more data. Okay, so you can either ways use them. So they are just opposite of each other. Whichever is comfortable to you, both of them would serve the purpose. Okay, so fetch C1 into this. Exit when C1 not found. See, when do you want to exit? When cursor not found. Not found means there is no more data, then you want to exit. So this is how you can use the not found condition. So you can quit when it is not found condition. Not found means there is no more row available to be extracted. Okay. Then is row count. I can simply keep on counting how many rows are being extracted with the help of the clause that is mod row count. So it will keep on incrementing as and when I extract or fetch the data. The count will keep on incrementing. So I can keep on counting how much data. Here I could count on finger that there are only 3 tuples. May not be so when it is real-time data. So there is a clause which will help us, count. So there is one example given here. There is a loop, fetch C1 is the cursor, into the different variables in which you want to fetch the data from C1. If C1 row count is greater than 10, then you want to do something. When it is greater than 10, you want to do something, end it. Okay, so there can be anything that you want to do. It is less than something, you want to do something. So you can play with the row count that gives you the exact number of rows which are already fetched. Okay, and it will keep on incrementing with every loop entry. So every time the loop runs and extracts one more tuple or one more row, the row count will keep on increasing. Okay, so this is how here similarly it has a meaning, but what is extra being shown here is DBMS output put line. Okay, this will help you put the display on the screen, wherein you can see that you have couple of things being displayed, that is TE name, then you have some space being displayed, and thereafter the data which is stored in the another variable, that is it is being to char the data, typecast is being done, and what is the variable which is being displayed next is T department number, and then they are being segregated with the forward slashes. So first data that is being displayed is e-name, then the next data that is being displayed is department number, next data that is being displayed is salary, all of them segregated from each other with two forward slashes and one space which is being shown with the help of this single quote. Can you see the single quote here also? I'll just put my pointer there. So it will just merely make it sure that there is one single space between all the values. So if I want employee ID, all these three employee IDs, then salary or something to be displayed, then all IDs will be one below the other of all the rows, one space and the display of maybe the employee name, and maybe one space and then salary. So I want to display all these three, then it is the same way that I can do. So this is the format. So this we will be definitely using in our practical session also, wherein we will just extract material and see whether actually cursor is doing the task for us of extracting the data from the database. So this is what is just closing the cursor. Okay. So practical example has been given here. Okay. So see here, this is a stored procedure. Create or replace procedure. What is the name of the procedure? Cursor 01 is. We have seen this stored procedure in one of our subtopics in our prior units. So please go back to that knowledge if you do not remember how stored procedures have to be written. So this is a stored procedure, create or replace procedure, that is what I am saying, stored procedure, and it is, the name is cursor 01 is. Okay. Then what am I doing here? These two are the variables which are typecast as EMP, employee tables, EMP names, mod type, that means the same data type should be applied here. The data type of whatever is department number is being applied to E department number. So that typecast, I mean mod type is being used here. Similarly, salary is the type here. Now look at the cursor, the definition of the cursor, cursor display 30. So what is the name of my cursor? Display 30 is. So what is the select clause here? Select EMP name, department name, salary from EMP, where department number is 30. So this is a simple SQL query. Order by EMP name. Then that was what was the stored procedures top part. Now there is begin. Okay, I am saying DBMS output enable. Thereafter I am opening the cursor, as I told you, after definition I have to open the cursor to use it. So opening, so I'll just put my pointer here, open display 30 is being done. So the cursor is open. Then there is a loop. Okay, I have things being stored here. What all is being stored here? There are three values which are being stored here, that is EMP name, department number and salary is being stored here. Now what am I doing here? Fetch from that cursor into whatever variables I had declared, and they were exactly the same data type of those columns. That is the usability of it. I have created the cursor, but from the cursor I want to extract it into three different variables, and those three variables are the EMP name, department number and salary. Okay, so I want to fetch into them. So this has to be fetched into the EMP name. This has to be fetched into EMP name. The second one has to be fetched into department number, and the third one has to be fetched into E salary. E name, E department number, E salary. Okay, so there you have to fetch. So I hope I'm not confusing you. So let's do it like this. So which are the three fields which are being selected? There is E name. Okay, then there is department number. Okay, then there is salary. Okay, now these three only are getting stored here: E name, department number and salary. For which department? Department number 30. So all those people of department number 30 are being fetched and stored there. Now I have three variables. Which are those three variables? I'll write them here. So this is your table. So I have declared three variables. One is E name. E underscore E name, which has the same data type as this column. Then there is E salary, which is the same data type as this. And there is E department number, Okay, so this is the same data type as this. Okay, I have just declared them. I am just showing that they are the same data type. Okay, so what am I doing? After the cursor is created, all these values will be fetched into these. So E name will be fetched into E name. Okay, department number will be fetched here and salary will be fetched here. So they will be fetched from the cursor, and all those values will reside here for the temporary purpose and then displayed. So that is what is happening here. So I declared those variables, and now what am I saying? I am just displaying them. E name space, department number space, and salary space. Okay, so this is what, and then close the cursor. So this is how the what you can say, the cursor, your entire all steps have been encountered, or all steps have been taken care of. That is definition, opening, fetching, and then closing. So this was how, so this is the display. So you can see execute. When you say execute the cursor, then you will see that all the names, all the department numbers, all of them are 30, department number 30, and whatever are their salaries is being displayed. So this is third column is. So you can see in between there is one bar which is being displayed. That was because you had typed here not space but a hyphen. Okay, so hyphen is being displayed here. So ln hyphen 30 hyphen his salary, his or her salary. So this is how the cursor works. With this, I think I have given you enough overview of how the cursor works. This is again just how differently, instead of a loop which signifies or references to a while loop, a for loop is being used. So instead of that, for loop is being used. That's the only difference. The cursor handling, everything is the same. So you can look at the entire program. Just the only thing that is different is it is a for loop for x in display 30 loop. So as long as x has some value in the cursor, loop it and do something. So for loop also can be used. Instead of a loop, you can have a for loop to do it. So with this, I have covered cursors for you. So I'll just take a little pause to connect you online and show you the practical, that is I think assignment term work number 7, which is regarding cursors, wherein stored procedures and cursors, the demonstration has to be shown. So give me some time to connect online and to show you the execution of cursors, wherein you will be practically able to see how the cursors work. Thank you.